So much we still don't know, like the shooter and why he would bring 23 high-powered guns into his hotel room, hide that from folks. No one seemed to notice, and he apparently would keep a do not disturb sign or the equivalent on his door. The couple of times he did get room service, I believe there was one occasion where he took it himself from outside in the hallway. To Metropolitan Protective Services CEO Derrick Parks, so much in retrospect we could raise our eyebrows over. At the time, no one did, Derrick, but I'm wondering here what you look for. And obviously, these latest revelations that there were security cams down, which isn't a surprise, in the casino itself, and he was the company of a woman, either gambling with her or she was at the same table or whatever. But these cameras are going to tell a lot of story, down to room service coming to his room, right?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the unique thing about this scenario is the fact that this subject did nothing unusual about his stay. He came into a hotel, had luggage. He came in a company of a young lady, ordered room service. He stayed a few days, so nothing really no actions that he did was suspicious or would have drawn any level of attention that security officials or police officers would have really thought to investigate.
You know, Derrick, what is policy here in a hotel or a casino? Maybe it's different, maybe it's the same, where after a few days, if you see a do not disturb or privacy sign outside a door, do you worry that, well, we got to check in anyway because the person, gosh, could be dead inside? You know, I mean, sure. At what point does it alert a hotel? Maybe this was disrupted by his request for room service. He complained, I think, about someone below him playing music too loud. So maybe that settled the issue as to whether there was someone in there alive. But you know what I mean? Like, what is the rule of thumb that security people at a hotel, casino, anywhere would put on such an event?
Well, each hotel and casino have their own policies about, you know, how often do they want to disturb room service, and usually it's up to housekeeping and security kind of work in tandem to figure out which room to investigate any event that arises to levels of suspicion. But almost like you said, he ordered room service. Right. He also made a complaint about someone having loud music, so it wasn't like, you know, maybe this guy's dead in a room or anything of unusual circumstances. It's a lot of times that people may take a room and just want to kind of get some R&R, just away from the world, just to relax for a couple days at a time. So again, you know, it wasn't like he was in a room for a week and there was absolutely no movement, right? Or there was no phone calls or no activity. I mean, he left his room and he came back. He ordered room service. He did a lot of things.
Yeah, and this latest revelation, to your point, that he was down in the casino in the company of this woman. We don't know many of the details of that, right. But you're quite right. He got around, and they're privy to stuff that we don't even know. Certainly, I don't know, because sure. They've looked at cameras and they looked at security cameras. They looked probably at his own that he set up in the room. That one is a little, you know, alarming here. What do you think he was doing with all those cameras, besides the ones trained at the door? That I could weirdly understand, but we're told as well that he had a camera set on the crowd outside, on himself. I don't know if it's true or not, but a lot of cameras. What do you make of that?
Well, from what I gather, for everything that they've found out so far about this suspect, is the fact that he did a lot of surveillance, a lot of recon on what event he wanted to attack and what event and how he wanted to go about it, even going over, from what I understand, escape routes. So yeah. I think he was looking at the maximum time that he could probably inflict the maximum amount of casualties with the cameras, just monitoring the crowd sizes, maybe looking at egress ways for some of the victims and things of that nature, figuring out when would be the most plausible time for him to mount his attack.
But how would he have conceived of the possibility of escaping? Now, I understand that sure. If you had 10 to 12 minutes of shooting, there was still another hour after that before they got to him, or he got to himself before they got to him. Sure. But obviously they were being very, very careful there. They didn't know if he had a bomb in there and all, but the shooting had been stopped for an hour. Right. So many have talked about his planned escape route. What would it have been?
Well, you know, it's really hard to fathom what his actual escape route would have been and how successful he would have been at even executing it. We do know that, you know, he was in a hotel, and I'm imagining that he probably would have suspected they would have took him quite a bit of time to just find his location. But I really don't know, because he did shoot and did sustained shooting for, at least almost 15 minutes. And it didn't look like he really had an intent to just kind of evacuate the building immediately, or maybe they was able to find him prior to him thinking that he was ready to leave. I'm not sure what his total plan was, to how he was planning on to escape.
In the meantime, real quickly, a lot of hotels, casinos, not only in Vegas, pretty much everywhere, are rethinking whether they should check luggage of those who come in, magnetometers, whatever it takes. It could obviously increase the wait time for those checking in, but what do you think of that?
Well, this is going to be a really hard thing to fathom, as far as if you can almost contemplate every hotel trying to check through luggage, trying to check, just checking people in. I mean, at a minimum, in somewhere like Las Vegas, I mean, thousands and thousands of people occupy one hotel at a time. I think they're just going to have to really kind of, unless they're going to set it up like TSA, really kind of rethink of how they're going to probably set up security measures against this kind of acts in the future.
Yeah, easier said than done. Okay, Derrick Parks, Metropolitan Protective Services CEO, I appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Neil. Thank you.
All right, a couple of things we're